What's going up, guys? This is RJ Game News USA, and I gotta say, my anticipation for Black Phone 2 was off the charts. Normally, when I see a movie that sort of comes out of nowhere, like Black Phone did, the only thing I ask is, just don't make a sequel and ruin it, right? Well, from what I've seen from the trailers and the interest level that I've seen coming into that for myself, I was super excited for Black Phone 2. And I'm proud to report, I love the fucking movie. And I want to talk about it. So, if you're new to the channel, subscribe. And like the video. Share it out there. Let's dive right into it. So, let me go. First, let me just say, there are going to be some spoilers in here. So please, if you don't want any kind of spoilers, just watch the movie. Anytime I'm doing a personal review, not where I'm just going over review scores from the reviewers, but when I'm doing a personal review like this, I will do some spoilers. I'm not going to sit here and read you the fucking plot synopsis, though. But it is enough spoilers here for me to describe what's going on that I just wanted to pre-warn you. So with that warning out of the way, let's begin my review of Black Phone 2. So, first of all, we got to talk about the plot. So, the idea that Finn grew up after the events of the first Black Phone where he was kidnapped and was able to off the serial killer, the Grabber. It led into, we have an older Finn now, which makes sense because the actor himself got older. It's actually been a decent number of years since the original movie, which actually played in the favor of this sequel. I liked an older Finn here. And I thought he did a fantastic job, both at instilling his angst, his anger, his depression, his anxiety from the situation, his lack of ability to make friends. It's a typical, like, loner type story, you know, teenage angst sort of story at first. And, you know, he gets involved with, obviously, his sister and his sister's love interest, we'll say. Teenage love interest. And she's having dreams. Gwen is having dreams. And these dream sequences are leading to real things happening in real life. This is very akin to Nightmare on Elm Street, which we are badly needing a reboot of that. But this is the closest thing we could get to it. And then the setting quickly changes to them going as counselors to this camp, and it's very reminiscent of a Friday the 13th with the camp, but different in so many ways. They didn't have the kids there, they didn't have too many counselors, they still kept the setting, and the amount of characters small and central to what's going on. And I will get more into the characters as we go on. But anyway, the plot is essentially they're going to save these three spirits from being rescued from being buried deep in the ice. And the Grabber his spirit's also there, and he wants to get revenge on Finn, and, you know, he wants to kill him and his family. And so there's a big tussle there and a big conflict going on there. And once they're able to free the spirits, basically the Grabber loses his powers, and they kill the Grabber. And so, yeah, that's a huge spoiler. No shit, right? But overall, it was a very enjoyable movie. I thought the plot was fine. You know, they also find out their mother actually was involved with the Grabber much sooner than we realized, and that she actually didn't off herself, but the Grabber himself actually was a camp counselor himself, knew her, and later down the road also went ahead and offed her and made it look like a self-deletion. So that sort of tied everything nice in a nice little neat little bow. There was definitely some shocking moments here, whether it involved children being, you know, that you don't typically see in even horror movies that are rated R. So I thought it pushed the envelope pretty good here for a rated R movie. I thought the dream sequences were great. I thought, you know, they made it clear when it was a dream, when it was not a dream, for the audience to know and understand. So as far as the plot goes, I had no problem with the plot. My only negative for the plot is it tied up a little too nice and neat in a little bow for me. I would have liked to see some kind of Easter egg or something, or some kind of twist. I actually prefer non-happy endings in movies sometimes, or I prefer a little bit of, hey, he's not quite dead, like his hand raises out of the ice or something. Kind of like, you know, a good example of a movie that, you know, Carrie's a good example of a movie. You know, with that, an ending the certain way it is. But, nevertheless, this seems like this should be the end of the franchise, but I beg to differ. If the sales are great and people went to see this, they're going to make a third movie, or they'll do a prequel. You know how it goes, and that's when things could go downhill. But they left him pretty dead. So the Grabber looks like he's pretty cooked. I don't know if there will be another movie. I don't really care right now if there's another movie. I enjoyed this movie, and that's what we're talking about. So, pacing-wise, pacing was fine. You know, I figured hour 54 minutes, I'm a little worried. Is this a little too bloated for what it is? No. I thought the pacing was fine. I was left feeling just like it was the right amount of time. Not like it was too short, not like it was too long, and the pacing was fine. I thought, you know, a lot of times I've noticed with these movies, they have too much build, and then there isn't enough time with the villain, and then the last 20 minutes goes insane, right? Well, this movie didn't do that. It paced it out a little bit better than that, and you saw the Grabber earlier than you've seen in modern movies where they wait till the very freaking end to just go nuts. By then, you might have lost interest. You know what I mean? Even great movies that I love, like this year, like Sinner, took a while to get to the push. You know, or even The Conjuring took a while to really, really get into the meat of things, the craziness of things, which I think worked for both of those movies. Thankfully, that didn't happen here, though, because I don't think it would have worked here. I think you needed a little bit as you went along, and we got that. But we got to talk about the setting. I love the snow setting here. I love the secluded mountain camp. You know, I thought the setting was great. Character-wise, I thought all the performances were pretty solid. I thought maybe the dad could have done a little better, maybe. I don't know. I feel like some of these characters were short on lines, maybe. But in general, I think the acting was fine. I wouldn't say necessarily, you know, nothing Oscar-worthy, but certainly nobody ruined anything, which is what you don't want to do in a horror movie. Bad acting can just ruin everything. And so nothing was ruined here by the acting. Everything was just enhanced. And so, I mean, overall, I'm left with the feeling of this movie was really good. Perfect? No. And my one real ding to it, of course, is a lack of a twist. I love twisted movies. Okay? Even when the movies aren't as great as this, whether it's an M. Night Shyamalan flick where there's some kind of twist, I appreciate the art of the twist. I didn't really get a twist here. The biggest twist, really, is that the mother didn't off herself. But that's not really the twist I'm looking for the end of a movie. You know what I mean? A twist would be something like the dad was friends with the Grabber. You know what I mean? Like, or he knew about his crimes. You know, that kind of blow your mind sort of twist. That we didn't got none of that. So that's why I can't give the movie a full 10. I'm going to give it a 9.5. I'm going to give it a 9.5 out of 10. I highly recommend this movie. It's one of the handful of movies this year that I would super, super recommend that you go see if you're a fan of horror movies at all. If we get a few more of these good ones under the belt, who knows? The Grabber could be up there on the Mount Rushmore of all-time slasher movies. Right up there with Freddy Krueger or Jason Voorhees or Michael Myers. But those three are really hard to break through that glass ceiling. And I think the Grabber's got a long way to go. I don't think the Grabber's nearly as intimidating as those three characters are in horror movie history. But hey, still a great movie. And there were still some really great scenes. Some really good jump scares there. Highly recommend it. Guys, thank you for watching the video. If you've made it through long enough here to hear me ramble through all the way through, I appreciate it. But I'm going to sign off for now, guys. Thanks. See you later.